Welcome, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and we are here live on a special Tuesday live stream here to cover the last night's 16-14 victory over the Cleveland Browns. Of course, everybody knows that the game was delayed 2 days from Saturday to Monday, and for the most part, the Raiders played okay. I'm going to go and give my offensive and defensive grades and explain what I gave and go through that, of course, as always. First, I want to give a shout out to all of you who are here live in the chat and those of you who are also watching this on replay. Thank you for coming out. If you're not getting the notifications when you subscribe, be sure to hit all on that bell notification. That way that'll pop up on your screen and you just hit the reminder on those notifications of the live streams and it'll actually pop up on your device or your laptop. Let's see who we have in chat. I see Sandy B here. I see Dominique. How you guys doing tonight? Again, we normally go Monday nights live on our game reviews, but of course we had to play on Monday night, so we're doing this on Tuesday. So without further ado, let's get right on into it. And all of you who are also listening and not putting anything into the chat, welcome here as well. So if you're new to here, this is how we normally do things. I have an agenda, what I call the rundown. So I have topics I want to go over, and then we go to a Q&A session here where we go over what you want to talk about, your points of view on what I put out or the game or the Raiders in general or the league in general, and we'll go from there. So first thing I want to talk about tonight is, of course, the big injury here, Jonathan Abram. If, of course, you were watching the game, he came out in the fourth quarter, had a shoulder injury. I've watched the play a couple times. It was a run right to Nick Chubb. He was playing basically the outside linebacker, and it looks like he had a shoulder dislocation. That is what's being called. He had an MRI today, and no official word out as far as the MRI results yet. We'll probably get that tomorrow. I'll put a notice out tomorrow, one of my notes, if you want to see that. If anything adverse happened regarding the MRI. Honestly, I'm not too optimistic. This is the same shoulder where he tore his rotator cuff in Week 1 game in 2019 against the Denver Broncos. And so reportedly, he had dislocated the shoulder in Week 6 earlier and played through it. This really concerns me. Again, this was a surgically repaired shoulder 2 years ago. So, again, I want to be optimistic, but I would have preferred it being the other shoulder, not the surgically repaired one. But best wishes to him, of course. And I will get you the information as I get it here. So let's get right on to the review. Of course, we start on the defensive side of the ball. As you can notice here, I did a little bit of changing here. Littleton was benched. He did not start the game. Keyshawn Nixon actually started the game. It was kind of a quasi-nickel / they had Abram coming in and playing outside linebacker at times as well. And it actually kind of worked. And I'm going to get to the first key to the game, of course, and I thought this was probably the most important key, and that was stopping Nick Chubb. My goal was keeping him under the century mark, and that's what they actually did. They held him to 91. He got a touchdown. That was in the second half. I got to give this one a B, though, because I can't give it an A because he only had 14 yards in the first half, and he did a majority of his damage in the second half. It looked like the defense kind of wore down. Now, Jonathan Abram, here we are. This isn't the play where he got hurt. This was earlier in the first quarter. He came through the gap and stuffed Chubb. Great play. Abram's mentality, honestly, he's more of kind of like an inside linebacker running up there and stuffing the run. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the size to be an inside linebacker, but I do like the way they were utilizing him on the defensive side of the ball here, especially against a team that their bread and butter is running. They had Nick Mullins as a third-string quarterback. Of course, Baker Mayfield did not clear the protocol, did not play. Same thing with Case Keenum. He popped positive, I believe, on Sunday, so he was probably going to be out anyway. And I think they did well overall, but I couldn't give it an A because the Browns were getting a lot of momentum, especially in the second half, running the ball. It gets me to my second key of the game here, and this was the defensive line in general, and I had pretty lofty goals for them. I wanted at least 3 sacks, 10 quarterback hits, 2 turnovers. Actually, we didn't get any sacks at all in the game. We had 4 quarterback hits and no turnovers. But I'm going to give this one a C, and that's majority because of the play that they did otherwise, slowing down this running game and making Nick Mullins try to beat us. And they put a dubious stat out during the game if you didn't notice it. Mullins only had 1 pass greater than 15 yards the whole game. It was little dump offs, little this, little that. That's probably why they didn't really get a sack in the game, because either they were running the ball or they were quick option passes. So I think they played well against the run. I'm still wanting to see this pass rush a little bit better, especially from Max Crosby. Bitonio, like I said, they moved him to left tackle for the game. Their starting left tackle did not play. I didn't get an injury report on that. That was late. Still, they did their offensive line did a pretty good job overall, though. Njoku played. He only had a few catches. He did get a touchdown, was called back. But overall, I'm going to give the defense as a whole a B. Now, I said this because kind of grading on a curve. This was a little tough because their offense wasn't fully loaded, of course, but they only gave up 14 points. 6 of 14 on third down conversions. It's not great, but that's not terrible. 236 total yards. And they really kind of stuffed Cleveland early, and they allowed the offense to at least get some points and stay ahead. They shut them out in the first half. Like I said, only ended up giving up 14 points and only 13 first downs. So I think overall they did a pretty good job. To be honest, I wouldn't have been too worried about Baker Mayfield. I'd have been more worried about Jarvis Landry being in the game. Faison made a couple good plays against Donovan Peoples-Jones, a couple swat-aways and a strip on one catch he made deep down the field. That was great, but he did get a PI late. But that didn't hurt us because, like I said in the halftime show, we kind of iced the kicker there, and he missed it on the second try. So pretty good overall. And we'll talk a little bit about next week against Denver, what I'm going to expect here from both sides of the ball. But for right now, if you're enjoying this, give it a thumbs up. It's going to help the algorithm. It's going to help spread the word. And also, when you subscribe, hit that bell. You got to hit it to all so you get the notifications of my live streams. Of course, I always go live at halftime for about 15 minutes. But of course, I'm going to go live on Christmas Eve. Come out here, ho, ho, ho. Maybe Santa will make an appearance. We're going to talk about the Broncos. And if you haven't noticed, Teddy Bridgewater had a huge, wasn't a real hit, but he landed really hard on his head on one play. They had to cart him off. He's going to be in concussion protocol. He's out of the hospital. But I think that's going to be a Christmas present for us as far as Drew Lock starting, because he's terrible. That's why I put the lump of coal here. I will be talking about that. I will be talking about my keys to the game as well. So come on out. We'll do our game preview, and then you can set out your milk and cookies and chilada or whatever for Santa. Now, as far as the offense goes, of course, my first key, and I'm going to probably keep it there, like I said, the rest of the year, it's going to be on number 4, Derek Carr, and the offensive play calling as far as Greg Olsen as well. Both of them on and off the field generals here. My expectation was a minimum of 50% third down conversions, because that's been the key stat I've been seeing in our woes here, and 2 red zone touchdowns. Now, we got 6 of 13. That's about 46%. So we were close, a lot better than we've been doing lately. And we did get that 1 red zone touchdown, and that was the first drive of the game right here. And this was a nice pass. It looks like it was kind of off, but he had to throw it over there because Greedy Williams was on Brian Edwards here. Great placement and a great catch by Brian Edwards. But I'm going to give this a C overall. Again, it seems like we had a good first half, and then we kind of waned. We kind of played down to this Browns team that was kind of shorthanded, especially on the offensive side. The defense was mainly there. Malik McDowell was not here, didn't clear concussion protocol. And then Clowney was a late scratch. They had Tack McKinley. Unfortunately, if you watch the game, he got hurt. He was going against Colt Miller at the time, and it looked like he popped his Achilles, and that was confirmed. So he's out for the year. Unfortunately for him, I like him as a good pass rusher, but I know that was a guy I think we were trying to target in the offseason, but good luck to him. But I think we did okay. I think we did a lot better in the first half. The second half, not so much. Again, first half we were 4 of 7, so that tells you we were 2 of 6 in the second half as far as third down conversions. Everything kind of waned, and that's why I couldn't give it any more than a C with Derek Carr and the offensive play calling in general. Now, the second key, of course, was stopping their all-world pass rusher, Myles Garrett. My key was minimum of 1.5 sacks or less, and we actually shut him out. Now, granted, he did get hurt late in the third. I think it was the last play of the third quarter, right before the field goal. It looked like he pulled his groin. Now, he did come back and play, but you could tell he was not the same player. He was kind of grunting out the injury. Like I said, it looked like a groin injury, something going on there. So, but still, 3 quarters, no sacks, no QB hits from him. He only had 3 tackles on the game. So I got to give this one an A. That's what I'm saying. This guy's an all-world player. Not only that, TJ Watt had a sack and a half previously the day before against the Tennessee Titans. So he was 2.5 sacks down in the sack race, and we kept him out. So well done. Mostly to Colton Miller. I think the line overall did pretty well against this as far as pass blocking. Run blocking was kind of hit and miss, to be honest with you. There were some times where I saw big holes, especially there was one in the second quarter, I believe, with Peyton Barber. And that was on the left side between Miller and John Simpson. He could have drove a truck through there, and I think he got about 10 or 15 yards on the play. But overall, kind of hit and miss. The pass blocking was better. It's not great. Of course, we're going to have to address this in the offseason. But Derek Carr, he showed some cojones out there. I got to give it to him. As far as that goes, he would step up in the pocket. He wasn't really taking a whole lot of sacks. He did get his leg tweaked, that same leg he broke. And then he kind of got into that little scared mode a little bit, a little hurry mode. And I think that's what kind of stalled the offense, especially in the second half. So overall, I'm going to give this a B-. We only scored 16 points, 328 total yards, 20 first downs. That's not terrible, but it's not great either. I give it a B-. I could have very well given it a C. Carr threw that interception. I think it was more on him. It looked like Zay Jones was bracketed, but it did look like Zay pulled up a little bit, and Greedy Williams kind of swiped in and got that interception. But I call that more on Carr. Number one, it looked like he was bracketed. Number two, more importantly, it was about 3 minutes in the game. It was second down. I believe we were around the 30, 35-yard line on our side. We had plenty of time. We're only down by 1. We had plenty of time. We didn't really need to do that unless it was open. If it was open, you take the shot. I didn't see it really being open, so he should have done what he does best and checked down. No offense to all the Carr lovers. I think that was more on Carr than Zay Jones, but he did come back. The defense had a huge stop. They tried to run the clock out. 3 and out. Jonathan Hankins again. This guy has really been well on the running game. He made a pivotal play on third down, coming across the line, stopping Nick Chubb from getting the first down, forcing them to punt, and then Carr brought them down into field goal position. I know there was a bullshit penalty on Colton Miller here. Jackson basically pivoted and fell, and they called him for a holding call, knocked us 10 yards back. But Carr got that back and then some. They tried to ice Carlson. Didn't happen. He nailed it. ice cold veins. We won the game at the very end. So overall, I got to give them a B minus. A decent game overall for the team, but they got to get better. This Browns team isn't that good. Even without Baker, even with Baker Mayfield in there, and he wasn't in there, Jarvis Landry didn't play as well. If the Raiders want to try to make a run, they still are in contention at 7-7, but they're going to have to play a lot better down the stretch. They're probably going to have to win all 3 games coming up. So we are in our question and answer session here, and let me put this up here. Here you go. You can see my smiling face here. So this is up to you guys. You guys want to put your comments, you want to put your questions in the live chat here. Also, if you're listening to the replay of this and if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I usually answer everyone that I see, unless YouTube doesn't show them to me. There's been a couple times where it's weird. Somebody's made a comment and I literally get it like 3 months later on a video from like 3 months ago, and it's popping up that I got a comment somebody made. So unless that happens, I generally will answer your questions or any of your comments you have. So let's see what you guys have in the comment section right now. Hey, Sandy B, how you doing? I see you there. Got him today. What's going on with Abrams? Yep, we talked about that. Yeah, you said no news is good news about Abrams. Like I said, it's hard for me to be optimistic, especially on the same shoulder, and he was playing through it beforehand. Maybe it was a case where he maybe would have gotten it cleaned out in the offseason, because he had issues with it week 6, but he played on through it. And if you look at the play, if you go back and look at the play where he did get hurt, it was, like I said, a run to the right. He was playing outside linebacker on the opposite side. He came across, hit Chubb, and it looked like he kind of bounced off him and hit him in an awkward angle and probably jarred it loose, and that's what probably did it. And again, I'm really concerned about this. I don't want to be pessimistic, but if they come back and say he's out for the season, it would not surprise me, especially given it was the surgically repaired shoulder from 2019. So one game at a time, they needed this. If you've watched my halftime show, I was very happy with how they played. I know they only scored 10 points. It was 10-0, but the team was more invigorated, more revitalized on both sides of the ball, including Derek Carr. He was running, and that one play at the end of the half where they were in their red zone, he didn't have anybody open, 3rd down. He tried to run for it. He couldn't make it. But you know what? He's not Lamar Jackson. I understand that. But he had the cojones to try for it. And he took a lot of bumps. Like I said in the preview, I said, if we won a close game, it was almost like prophetic. I said something like, I would like to see, even if they win a close, ugly game, which this kind of was, where Derek Carr's kind of got mud on him and his arm was bloody and he had grass stains and mud and dirt. And he drove us out to win at the very end. I mean, I think I might watch my my preview show because I said something like that. That's what I wanted to see, and it kind of came true. It's kind of weird, but the second half, like I said, Carr got his legs stuck underneath him, getting sacked, and he said in the press conference that he believes it was scar tissue because he heard some popping and he was worried that, his leg gave out again, but it wasn't that, and he was fine. But you could tell he's a lot more timid after that. Unfortunately, I think psychologically that got to him more so, and it probably affected the whole offense. And let's keep in mind also, guys, a lot of people are knocking Carr. I'm not necessarily doing that. Obviously, he played better in the first half, but this Browns defense is an above-average defense. Like I said, they're top 10 in run and pass defense. This is a good, talented defense, and they had Myles Garrett for most of the game till they got hurt. So I knew we wouldn't be able to score a whole lot, even if we were on. I was hoping, that's why I was saying, I was hoping the defense would get us some points or some turnovers to turn the tide. They didn't really do that, but they did hold Nick Chubb off until the second half, and it was just enough. So Dominique says, Barber looked better than Jacobs. Honestly, I hope we don't pay him big money. Yeah, yes and no. Like I said, there was plays that one play with Barber, he looked good because if you look at it, the left side, it was like the parting of the Red Seas. It was a great block by Simpson and Colt Miller, and there was no linebacker there. He was gone. So I know a lot of people are saying that Barber was better than Jacobs. Barber can't. I don't trust Barber for a full season. It's like a Mariota argument. And that's another thing with this play calling. I gotta give kudos to Olsen on this for using Mariota more, especially in the short yardage. Third and short, we got a fourth down, fourth and short, little razzle dazzle RPO. He was handing it off, but still, that was the threat. That's the whole point of it. Use him for that. They don't know which way to go, and we're only going to need a yard or two. Good to go. So I got to give kudos to Olsen for that, switching it up a little bit, especially, like I said, this Cleveland Browns team, they can stop the run and they can run the ball well. And we got, about 90 yards rushing. I mean, that's not terrible, but for us, that's pretty good overall. And we held Nick Chubb under 100 yards, and we have one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. And, I saw in like an NFL preview, they were saying, well, Nick Chubb has been held under 100 yards for the past 2 weeks. And I said that in the preview. I go, that was the Baltimore Ravens. They're number one against the run. So you got to see it. But then he had 300 yard game plus games before that. So, and he's averaging like 5.5 yards per carry. So I think, given the state, especially the state of the interior defensive line, we did a good job with Nick Chubb overall. Still getting over that hug. Let's see. Dominique says, I'm not a fan of Mullen. I still haven't forgot last year's second half of the season is getting torched, and that carried over this year. Mullen's been hurt. He's back on the IR. He played one game. I don't think he was 100%. He didn't look it. He's got the toe. He's back on IR, so he's going to be out at least 2 more games after this. So maybe the Charger game. I think we just shut him down at this point. Mullen, I know a lot of people like Mullen. I said it in the offseason. He's hot and cold. He'll look good on some plays and then get torched on others. So that could be a priority next year. It's definitely a priority next year. What am I thinking? I mean, I think Hayward, we have Hayward, and that's about it. Faison's a 1-year deal. I don't think we're going to keep him. So, I took a drink. So, but I'll go over that in the off season. I don't want to get too far ahead. I know I saw a video, a fantasy football video. This guy was doing a 2022, what he called a perfect draft. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know who's going to be where. You don't know where the free agents are going to go. You don't know what's going to happen in the draft, who's going to be hurt. I mean, he got a lot of views. I mean, I could see how many views. I didn't watch it, but it's like, this is pointless. This is absolutely pointless to do something like that right now. So I'm going to wait until after. It'll be interesting. I'm not sure if I'll do the offseason salary cap one after we hire a head coach. I'm going to assume we're going to hire a head coach within a couple of weeks of the season being over if we don't make the playoffs. So I would say mid to late January. Would not surprise me unless we're looking at like Bieniemy, which I don't know. Is it him or is it Eric Reed there? Or Andy Reid, Eric Reed. Is it Andy Reid there? So, but if we're looking at a different player, I don't know. We could do a live stream about head coaches as well. Maybe we'll do that. Because I said we'll do a 4.0 on the schedule. So we'll go over our predictions and maybe we could talk about head coaches after the season. Let's see. Is Mullen that consistent? He's inconsistent. Mullen's inconsistent. Damon Arnett had more skill, in my opinion, than Mullen, but Damon Arnett's head was in the clouds. He wasn't there. He was not focused on football. That was obvious. So, and he's gone. So, and Mullen was the second round pick. Clemson, we love Clemson. This is the Gruden Mayock second round pick. Some people thought that was a reach. Again, I'm gonna do a draft video as well for the Gruden Mayock era, and it's like I said before. It sounds like Mayock's not even going to be here if Tommy Boy Davis is already going to decide a head coach. You would think that would be the general manager's decision. So looks like he's not even going to be here. So Dominic said, I really hope we don't lay down and make Locke look like Manning Sunday. Drew Locke, we don't create a lot of turnovers, but Drew Locke, he can help us out there. And I'm still not sold on Denver's offensive line. So I've got a feeling we're going to be able to pressure him into some turnovers, whether they're interceptions or fumbles. So I'm really optimistic. Bridgewater's kind of up and down. I think he's better than Locke. Not to say he's good, but I like their chances a lot better with Teddy Bridgewater than Drew Locke under center. So let's see. Sandy B says, I like the idea that they are not waiting to the end of the season to interview coaches. Given what's happened, yeah. It's understandable, but, does that mean they're not interested in some of the potential guys, some of the potential coordinators that are going to be in the playoffs? Like I said, like a Bieniemy. So let's see. Matt Mullen as a diss, yeah. Mullen's looked, like I said, there's games where he's looked really good. Like, wow, we got this guy in the second round, and there's games where like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with this guy? But speaking of second round, I got to give a shout out to Trayvon Merrick. Definitely worthy of a first round pick. If you notice, when, especially in the second half when Chubb was kind of breaking out a little bit, he was the guy who came in and finished the job. The guy knows how to tackle, sure tackler, perfect free safety. Of course, he's still a rookie. He's got to learn, but he's got the skills. I think we were very fortunate he was still there, and we got to move up to get him in the second round. But I'll go over the draft stuff more in another video. Let's see. Dominic says, what do you think about the Pro Bowlers? Any snubs for us, you think? Well, Crosby got in, so that's good. Honestly, Crosby's, especially of late, I mean, he does create a lot of pressures, but he hasn't had a sack since Denver, so maybe he can regenerate that when he plays Denver again. It's been a long time. It's been about 2 months now, so come here. Oh, you come down here. So the team, let's be honest. I mean, I think Carr would have been up for it. Had we did not had that big swoon, we lost 5 of 6. He's out of it, especially the MVP. Not just MVP, but even Pro Bowl. Who could you say? Jacobs? He's hurt. I think there are better running backs. I mean, you give it to Henry. He's hurt. Give it to Henry. He's better. Taylor's better. So, I mean, maybe Colton Miller. You can put him left tackle. Yannick is kind of heated up, kind of in the mid-season. He's kind of cooled down again. But especially, I'll go over that in the next week. But the big thing is this pass rush. It's got to come back again. It looks like we were blitzing a little bit more. I think we were more run blitzing in this game. Obviously, trying to slow Chubb down. That made sense. But we need to get more pressure on the quarterback. Nick Mullins had a little bit too much time, more time than I think he should have had. A third string guy, not to say, I mean like all quarterbacks in the NFL are good, but I mean, are they NFL good? Not necessarily. I mean, if he was that good, he would have stayed with San Francisco. I think we made him look a little bit better than he is. Again, same thing with third down conversions. Let me see. We were doing pretty well on third down conversions on the defensive side too in the first half. That kind of swooned a little bit as well. Renfrow is a Pro Bowler. I would say absolutely. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I'm going to say he's the second best slot receiver in the league right now to Cooper Kupp. I think he's the second best slot receiver. So, and Cooper Kupp plays in the NFC. So, yeah, I think Renfrow should be in the Pro Bowl. Sandy B says, who do we play next and how many more games? We play the Denver Broncos next. And that's why we're going to be going live on Christmas Eve. And it looks like Denver is going to give us an early present. With Bridgewater likely not playing. He is out of the hospital. That's good. The poor guy. He's had a lot of concussions, had a lot of bad luck as far as injuries. And he's in concussion protocol now. Honestly, I think it's unlikely he'll play next week. At least a week he'll be off. So it looks like we're going to see Drew Lock and Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams have been kind of nicked up. We'll talk about that later. We'll go in a little bit detail as far as the running game and their pass attack. Of course, Von Miller was traded to the Rams. He's not there anymore. But the defense is still I would say they're average to above average. So, and then after that, we have to go to Lucas Oil Stadium to play the Indianapolis Colts, and I would say we would have a hard time winning the game if we played our best, especially with Jonathan Taylor. I think he should probably win the MVP if it's not Aaron Rodgers. He's having a phenomenal season this year, and we're terrible at stopping the run. Like I said, we did stop Nick Chubb. Maybe we'll employ something similar because Carson Wentz is complete garbage. Do something similar we did with Cleveland. Try to focus in on him, make Carson Wentz beat us. I've said in previous videos, Carson Wentz is a joke. Then we play the Chargers. We host the Chargers the last regular season game. And this could be a little bit of revenge, all that smack talking they did after that game. Bosa basically calling out Derek Carr, saying he's soft. If you hit him a little bit, he folds up after the game. It'll be very interesting. There was a little bit of bad blood there. Raiders played terrible in that game. That was a game where they had like a half-hour delay for lightning. Isn't that ironic with the Chargers? But it's an indoor stadium there in L.A., and then Gruden was out there complaining, like, why are we stopping the game for lightning and blah, blah, blah. So it'll be very interesting, but we got to focus on Denver. We beat them in their house. They're going to want to try to come back. They too are still kind of in it as far as the playoffs. We're all right there as far as the AFC West, as far as at least the wild card. I think the Chiefs probably have this division at hand. They swept us and they swept the Chargers. I don't see Denver as a threat, so I think they have the division, but there's still wild card spots to be had. So let's see. Israel, welcome. Says, despite the flaws the Raiders have, do you believe they will make it to playoffs this season? Honestly, I'm going to say they're going to end up going, let's see. I think they're only going to win 8 or 9 games. So I think this one's winnable, definitely, Denver. Especially with Bridgewater out. Drew Lock's a joke. Colts, that's probably going to be a loss. We're not that good. We're not good enough to beat this team. I mean, they dominated. They went and took Bill Belichick's defense and took a dump on it, I think he had like 170 yards. Taylor did and 2 touchdowns. I mean, what is it? Wentz threw like 2 interceptions in the game. Only had like 60 yards passing or something ridiculous stat, and they still dominated. They still dominated the Patriots defense. So that's gonna be a tough game. And then the Chargers. I mean, it all depends on if we get up for that game. I think we're gonna be probably 8-8 going into that last game. Maybe have a chance at a wild card spot, and it's all going to depend if this team shows up to play the Chargers. I think we have a chance against the Chargers, but if we end up going 8-9, it wouldn't surprise me. I think we still have a lot of holes, especially personnel wise. Like I said, interior defensive line, we can't stop the run. Kwiatkowski lost his job to a guy who came on, Denzel Perryman, who's had a whale of a season until he got hurt. One of the league leaders in tackles, playing the mic. But I mean, he was cast. Let's say he was cast off from Carolina. He had a hip injury, and Carolina didn't think we got him for like a low round pick. Carolina wasn't even considering him as a starter. So they were happy with getting rid of him. So this is what I'm saying. And Perryman's kind of exceeded expectations, obviously. Same thing with Casey Hayward. He came in late. KJ Wright came in really late. I really think the philosophy, this is where we need a good solid head coach and a good front office to get the philosophy right so people want to come here. It's like we're like looking in the trash cans for like a half-eaten hamburger. I would hope we could be in the Devontae Adams sweepstakes, but is he really going to want to be here even if his buddy Derek Carr stays? I don't know. So those are the questions here. The personnel right now we can't win a Super Bowl with this team. There's no way. So would we want to hit the playoffs? Of course. I mean, that would be nice. But if we don't, it wouldn't surprise me. And, we've had a lot of problems, Gruden gone, the whole Ruggs thing. It's been a lot of adversity. The offensive line is Swiss cheese, especially the right side. And Andre James didn't have a great game either, by the way. I mean, you know how to hike the ball. I mean, this is the guy they were touting. I mean, Tom Cable needs to go. I talked about that before. Brandon Parker's still out there. I'd be fearful too if I was Carr. Brandon Parker's the biggest turnstile ever, and then Leatherwood was supposed to be the right tackle, and he wasn't cutting it, obviously. I mean, we used a first-round pick on him, so we could have got Tevin Jenkins, who's now back playing for the Bears. I saw the play, Sandy, where he lost his temper. Did he get ejected for that? I think he was throwing punches. Something happened. I think, let's see, maybe you can elaborate on that. I caught that play, but I mean, he's the kind of guy I would have liked at right tackle, a natural right tackle. He's got a mean streak on him, like incognito. I was thinking that was the guy we could maybe get in the second round. We take Merrick in the first round. I think we would have been better off. But again, we had 2 NFL analysts who think they're smarter than everybody else. They did hit on some late picks. I will give them that. But those front end picks, those are head scratchers. And they even admitted, like with Arnett, there was red flags. Oh yeah, no shit. There was red flags. Everybody knew that. And then you picked him anyway. Even if you love that guy, why pick him in the first round if he has red flags? Everybody else is going to pass on him, take him in the second. Do you know what draft value is? I mean, I went over this after the draft. And I mean, unless you want to make an argument that Mayock was a total yes man and Gruden was God and he made all the decisions and Mayock was just advising him, then Mayock shouldn't be here either, to be honest. So, Yeah, he got ejected. Yeah, I saw that. He was. Uh, they hit Fields. I think they hit Fields kind of laid out of bounds. So he took kind of exception to it, which is good. He's his lineman, and he got in the face, and then it went from there. And I saw punches being thrown from both sides. So plus you got a division rival with the Vikes. I was watching the game. There was a lot of heavy, hard hitting in that game. Those teams didn't look like they were under 500. They looked like they wanted to kill each other out there. So, but enough of that. Again, a lot of people were saying Tevin Jenkins would have been better. I thought so as well. Not to say Leatherwood is bad, but maybe, I don't know. I don't think he was worth 17th overall pick, and I think we got lucky with Merrick in the second round. So, and then Hobbs was an absolute steal. Looks like Diablo is kind of coming through here, playing a lot better. Another guy who likes to throw his body around. Not as much as Abram, but same kind of mentality. I like that. Hobbs was a late scratch. He did not play. But and then you have Malcolm Kuntz, who's kind of coming along. I had high expectations for him. If you saw my offseason, I liked the kid. But he looked like he was kind of getting thrown around in preseason. It looks like he's kind of got a little stronger in the weight room. And the future's kind of bright on especially on the defensive side. A lot of people knock the defense. They're not doing too badly. I mean, the Chiefs destroyed them, but they destroy a lot of teams. Not to say that the defense is great, but we have a kind of a young kind of core developing here. It's going to be very interesting. I think an outside linebacker that can cover a tight end would be nice, and more help on the interior defensive line. And, of course, corner, because our corners lose their mind or something. So, yes. Hit that thumbs up button if you are enjoying this. If you enjoyed my breakdown, my grades. If you disagreed with my grades, let me know either right now in the live chat. If you're watching this on replay, in the comments, let me know. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. It's not just about me talking and giving my opinions. I want to interact with you guys, Raider Nation. I'm a fan as well, and I just want to give what I think is going to happen, my insights. Not that I'm always right, but sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, and I'm willing to call myself out too. Just like I call Derek Carr out when he does bad. I think I'm not a hater, I'm not a lover. I think he had an okay game overall. A lot better in the first half with that little tweak, that little scare with his leg. I think he got a little more timid. I'm just going to call it like it is, and that kind of affected his game. But he did do that game-winning drive. He got us into field goal range. Carlson knocked it through, and we won the game. It was ugly, but we won the game. Just win, baby. So let's see. We're about 45 minutes in. If anybody doesn't have anything else, we'll close it out here. As a reminder, I will be going live Friday evening, 6 o'clock, same time, Christmas Eve. Maybe Santa will make a visit. Maybe Krampus get a little boom boom. I don't know. We gave Nick Chubb the boom boom, at least in the first half. Second half, not so much, but we did hold them off. We'll be going live to talk about my game preview against these Denver Broncos. We beat them once. We can beat them again, especially if Drew locks in. He's complete garbage. Hey, Raid the Tape, how you doing? I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate your channel as well. You have a good channel as well. I enjoy watching you as well. So, again, I will be coming on live Christmas Eve. And then, of course, as usual, I will be coming in on Sunday at halftime. I'll give a little bit more details on that on the Friday live stream as well. If anybody else doesn't have anything else, I just want to say thank you for you guys coming out here and joining us. For those of you who are watching on the replay, come on out here and join us live. It's a lot more fun. Get more interaction with not just with me, but with the other chatters here in the live chat. And we talk, and we can go any tangent you want to go to. If you want to talk about other things in the NFL, we can talk about that as well. Try to focus on the Raiders and kind of the pluses and the positives and the negatives that I've been seeing with the team. Again, I think we have a shot at the playoffs. I think we're going to have to play a lot better to get into the playoffs. The Colts are going to be a really tough out, to be honest with you. But the other ones are doable. The other two games are doable. Yeah, I appreciate that, Israel. You have a good one. Come on back on Friday at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And but there is some optimism here. We obviously need to rebuild the offensive line, interior run game, run stopping on the defensive line. Probably look at another corner if Mullins isn't going to pan out, and then an outside linebacker that can actually, cover running backs in the flat, can cover a tight end. I think those would be the early priorities. I'll go into it more in the off season, but again, thank you for coming out, and as always, go Raiders.
Something with all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the year?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.